Hello and welcome back to RVK Newscast. My name is Josie Anne. I'm a journalist with the Reykjavik Grapevine, and today we are in the stadium of the Icelandic national football team. And the reason for this, of course, is because we have lots of news about football to tell you. Yes, once again, I am reporting on sports, a topic that I know loads about. But yes, we have lots of news to tell you, and we're super excited to be there. So let's check it out. Here I am reporting on sports, and if you listen to our podcast, the Icelandic Roundup, you know that this is not my area of expertise. Andy, Sophia and I did an update on sports in general last week, which I'm sure was lacking on some detail on the podcast, although it's a pretty funny listen, so I recommend it. But it's important to talk about sports today because, unfortunately, the Icelandic national women's football team were knocked out of the Euros yesterday. And this is despite not losing a single match. So basically, they drew all of their matches 1-1, and they played against Belgium, France and Italy in Group D of the Euros. But the last match last night against France, which was played in Manchester in sweltering heat, it ended in a draw, and unfortunately, because Belgium won against Italy on last night as well, it means that they have more points overall, which means they're going through to the next round and Iceland isn't. France scored early on in the game last night, and it looked like they were going to win the whole match. But deep into an unusually long period of stoppage time, whatever that may be, one of the Icelandic players was fouled in the goal mouth, and after the employment of VAR technology, which is the video capture technology that they use now to help the referees, the ref awarded a penalty. Dagny Brynjarsdóttir scored with ease. It was a spectacular goal, even I know that, and the game ended immediately afterwards. So it was left as 1-1. There was a great crowd of Icelandic football supporters in Manchester, including actually our publisher, Hilmar, who's over there with his family. His kids are super into football, so they were all over there. There was like a great atmosphere. And, despite the disappointment of not getting through to the next round, it's still really impressive for Iceland, for the small team, to do that well. This is the 13th game in a row that the women's team have not lost, and the game that they drew against France was the first time that this huge team has not won a match in the last 33 matches. So it's really impressive, and we're still really proud of the football team, or Stelpurnar okkar, our girls as they're known here in Iceland. And it's great to see this fantastic stadium where they normally play. But we've got lots of other news to go to as well, so we're going to head outside and tell you more about what's going on. Okay, so other news that's going on. The president of one of Iceland's trade unions, which is ASE, has raised concern about a crisis in the labour market at the moment. And this is because, and we've talked about this a few times on various newscasts and podcasts, but basically there is a huge shortage of labour at the moment in Iceland. And this is the result of a number of things, but in particular, the tourism industry, which is huge here, obviously took a huge nosedive during the pandemic. And so as a result, a lot of foreign workers who were living here went home to their families and so on and so forth. And Icelanders who were working in tourism switched to other careers and maybe got jobs in kindergartens or things like that. And now it's all taking off again. We're not quite back up to pre-pandemic levels in terms of tourism numbers, but it's certainly getting close, and you can feel it around Reykjavik and beyond in Iceland. We're quite used to it being quiet, and now it's suddenly full of people again, which is really exciting. But there is this huge demand for people to come and work here. And as a result, the president, who is Drífa Snædal, she said that she's concerned that this is essentially going to result in a lot of foreign workers flocking to Iceland, and indeed this is kind of already happening, and that these people might not know their rights and might not know how employment works in Iceland. So this can obviously put workers in very vulnerable positions, and there are growing reports of exploitation of workers and even increased number of cases of human trafficking occurring in Iceland, which is really concerning. As a result, she has said that she's called for a change of mindset and better treatment of foreign workers. And this is, something that you do see, you hear reports of, particularly in industries such as construction and stuff, where there's double standards depending on whether or not you are Icelandic or you speak Icelandic versus if you are maybe Polish or Eastern European or from other countries where you're not treated the same. But she's also said that in order to tackle this effectively, there needs to be improved regulations and better supervision of employers. And she's called for other trade unions to be aware of this situation as well, and to, have that in mind when it's looking after its members, because the trade unions are very important here in Iceland. It's how all of the wage agreements are negotiated, and so being part of one is a really significant step if you want to have your rights catered to as a worker in Iceland. The tourism industry has been called out as one of the worst offenders in this, and there are multiple instances of people who are working for room and board but not really being paid properly, whether that's the tourism, as I say, there's workaway schemes that don't really quite actually pay people, and also au pairs, things like this, where in other cases you would be paying someone a full salary to do a job for you, and then there are cases where that's just not properly happening. So this is a situation. It's not quite at boiling point yet, but as tourism continues to increase, and it will, it's something that we know will continue to be an issue, and therefore I don't think this is the last time we're going to be reporting on news like this, and I hope that we will not be reporting on any serious cases of abuse of the system. And from women's football to women in rock music, there has been outcry after a concert called Rock í Reykjavik, or Rock in Reykjavik. The lineup for this was announced with a poster just towards the end of last week, over the weekend, and it featured 50 male musicians and no queer or transgender or women were included in the lineup at all. And this has obviously sparked some controversy. The organisers of the festival were interviewed and said that there just weren't enough women to choose from in rock in Reykjavik, which is patently untrue. And it's even more frustrating because the concert takes its name from a documentary which was made, I think, in 1982, and it's a really famous documentary with a really iconic poster, which you can actually buy in our shop. I'll put the link in the description. And the poster features Björk as the main image, and it also the documentary itself featured several female musicians and women-led bands. So the idea that it's that now it's being used to have this 50 only male performers is really frustrating. Since the controversy, the organisers have added a one-woman guest artist to the lineup, but that's obviously not good enough. And I was really lucky to have a couple of fantastic musicians, female musicians, on the podcast yesterday, the Icelandic Roundup. Olaf and Laugardalsvöllur. Olaf is also an organiser, a volunteer with Stelpurnar, which is like the girls' rock school of Iceland. A really fantastic organisation doing a lot of work with girls and adult women and trans and non-binary kids and adults as well. So definitely check that out if you want to know more. They have a lot of thoughts and opinions, as you might expect, about this situation. And one of the kind of funniest, it's a throwaway, but Salkasol Eyfeld tweeted iconically, more like cock in Reykjavik. So, I don't know. A bit crass, but I thought it was pretty funny. If you're looking for female rock musicians to check out, I definitely recommend there's a playlist, a Spotify playlist. I'll put the link in the description. But in particular, look out for Mammut, Kylan Mikla and Groa, as well as many others. And that's everything, or almost everything, from us at the Reykjavik Grapevine. The last thing I want to mention is Best of Iceland. We have published our Best of Iceland magazine for the summer. It is a big roundup full of all the different things that you can see and should see if you're travelling around the country, whether you're doing the ring road or visiting a specific region. We've got best bathing spots, we've got best museums, accommodation, there's maps with all of the stuff. You can buy a copy of this in our shop, shop.grapevine.is. The link is in the description. It's an invaluable resource. It took us ages to do. We ask a panel of experts, people who are travelling around the country all the time, to help us make it. And of course it features this really beautiful photograph of our lovely volcano on the front. So consider supporting our work by doing this, and if you're coming to Iceland or you know a friend who is, buy them a copy of Best of Iceland. And that's it. That's everything for us. Thank you very much to KSE for letting us, KSE, the Icelandic Football Association, for letting us film in their stadium. It was really cool, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Bye for now.